So I have been on a quest to use up as much DSP as I possibly can to make room for the amazing new stuff that is coming in the new catalog. So I wanted to show you this neat technique, and it's just a corner fold on your 4 little pieces of cardstock. And it allows you to see both sides. So one of my challenges was, I have to tell you, I was super excited to use the Dress to Impress DSP because it has, the most beautiful flowers on the designer series paper. But on the other side, sometimes you have shoes or, purses and things like that. So I wasn't really excited about that. So I decided to change my cardstock, but I did want to show you that there are, hey Lindsay, hey Deneen, happy Friday ladies. There are a couple pieces that you could use in this pack and it would make beautiful cards. So this is one, it has the flowers and then you have the little yellow daffodil stripes. I can't say yellow, you can't just say a plain color like that. This is the one that I chose to use, and it has the old olive polka dots on the other side. And then there is one more, this one here with the beautiful roses, and that has the little polka dots on the other side. So you could definitely use those. And if you love shoes, perfume, and pocketbooks, then you know what, maybe you want to use the other side. But to show the little technique here, I wanted to make sure that I had something that it didn't matter. The other thing is, if you're cutting it and it is directional, which the one I'm going to make today is directional, I'm going to use the cute little koalas from the Birthday Bonanza paper and suite. And so you want to make sure that your koalas are standing upright and not on their head. Okay, so I'll show you that when I get started here. All right, but this one is on Blackberry Bliss, and this uses the Best Dressed. This I absolutely love. It's the golf paper, and I did not purchase the golf suite, but I did get the paper, and I love this. And this one I will talk about at the end, but I did add a layer to this one. So this one has 2 layers instead of just one. Hey Barb, happy Friday. And then here's the one that we're gonna make today, but we're just gonna use the little koalas instead. So it's kind of like you get a little sneak peek of both sides of the paper. So I really like that one, all right? So the card base that I chose was Bermuda Bay. And one of the things I love about our designer series paper is on the back of the paper that is the back of the paper that's in the paper. That makes sense, right? It shows you the color palette and it tells you the colors that you need. So it's really no thinking, and I appreciate that. So you can look in there, and I know that I'm going to need Bermuda Bay, and I can use basic black, and I can use terracotta tile. So thank you, and it's just great. So I can kind of pull from my supplies and go from there. The other thing that you will need is you can either use the circle punch, or you can use one of your dies to cut out your circle that's going to go on the inside. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So what you're going to do, if you do not have one of the Simply Scored tools, that is okay. You are going to be just fine, I promise. But if you need one, I know exactly where you can get one too. So let me know. So what we're going to do is, let me show you. I have my 4 pieces right here. And like I said, I wanted to make sure my little koala was facing upright, okay? Hey Jill, hey April. So those are my 4 pieces that I'm going to start with, all right? So, and like I said, it is gonna be directional. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring it over, you guys can see, and I am just gonna score at 3/4, okay? And that just gives me a little notch, so I know I'm just gonna go ahead and fold right on that 3/4 line, and I just match up my paper along the line, and that's all you have to do. So you're gonna do that for all 4 pieces, okay? But for this one, again, I'm gonna do the same thing over here, but this one I turned over because this piece is going to be a bottom piece, if that makes sense. So, hi Jean, happy Friday. So this one I turned over on the opposite side, and I'm gonna score that at the 3/4 there. Okay, and then I will turn it and I will have my, so you have, let me put it on here. This, I'm sorry, we're still on the scoring tool so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so we are going to, this is going to be a bottom piece. Oh, you know what? Look at me. Aren't I fancy? So you want to make sure your cardstock is right side up. Woo! You'd think it was a Monday around here, but really it's a Friday. All right. And so these two pieces are going to be your bottom pieces. Okay. And then, like I said, we want to make sure the little guy, the pieces are 2 by 2 5/8, Lisa, is right side up. So I'm going to go ahead and again, so this one I would score on the back side at 3/4 and fold. And then this one, you can score on the front at the 3/4 mark right there. You can see where I scored and fold. Okay, so that's all you're gonna do. If you do not have a scoring tool, if you have a Stampin' Up cutter, there is a score on there, so you could use that. If not, you're completely fine. Honestly, you could probably, you know, just measure with a ruler, and then you can, I hate to say this word, eyeball it. And you could eyeball it and get your measurements from there. So you can see it's kind of like a fun little puzzle, but then it gives you that little peekaboo section on the inside. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put mine down with my snail adhesive. And what I will recommend for you guys, and if you don't have them, it's okay, but I would recommend a glue dot, because this is kind of like a little shirt collar and you want it to stay down. So I used snail on there, but it kept popping up. So I decided to show it who was boss, and I got my glue dots out, or you could even use a little dab of Tombow, and you could use, you know, the Tombow to keep it down. So right now I am going to put, and the other thing is make sure you put your snail along this line too, because you want to make sure that that stays down. And there's a very thin edge around the outside. Okay. Can you tell that I have people here with me today? And you can, just like I did, just put a little glue dot there. And if you want to kind of, this is another fun little thing. If you want to make it, you know, pop up a little bit, you can do that too. You can take your bone folder. Hey, Debbie, happy Friday. And just make it pop a little bit. And that gives you a little bit more dimension. Okay, so we're on to our next one. Thanks for sharing the video, April. I greatly appreciate that. That's awesome. Okay, so here, the next one, we're gonna come right next to it, and we're gonna leave a little space, social distancing on paper, okay? Leave a little space, and we are going to add him right there, okay? And then again, like I said, we show it who's boss with the glue dot, and we put a glue dot on there, and I just found that that helps it stick. And then if you wanna pop it up a little bit, you can. If you want it down, you know, to lay down flat, can do that too, but it just adds a little bit of extra dimension when you, okay, so we're gonna come back here, and we are going to, and I'm actually going to, see, I said eyeball it, and I was not lying. This one is not as far over as I would like it to be, so I want it to match with the other side. So I just inched it over. The measurements of the pieces, Deb, or the measurements of the, of where you're scoring. You're gonna score at 3/4, and the measurements for your card DSP pieces are 2 by 2 5/8. Okay, so we have our next little square there. Oh, glue dots are awesome, April. They're great for not only for this kind of thing, but they're also great to add buttons and ribbon and things like that to your card too. Okay, so again, I'm gonna tuck underneath a little bit, and see, it just pops up. I don't know, that makes me happy. If it doesn't make you happy, then make yours flat. It's okay. You're not gonna offend me at all. Okay, so there's our last one. So you see you have that little opening there. All right, here we go. I'm gonna put the glue dot on first. I'm gonna be bold. Boldly go. And you guys, have you guys noticed that we have not used a stinking dimensional on this card yet? Are you guys sitting there shocked? Okay, well, stay tuned. Dimensionals are on their way. All right, so here's our last piece. And that's just gonna go over there on the side. And I wanna mention this is not an original design for me. This one was from Dawn Olszewski. So I got that from her. And isn't that cute? Just that little opening that you have there. It allows you to see both sides of the cardstock, okay? So next we are going to take, and we are gonna use a little bit of ribbon on this one. I told you you could, well, I'm sorry, that sounds rude. You can use whatever you would like, but like on this golf one here, I use twine. So I think the thinner, the better. So if you have twine, or if you have, you know, like the thin ribbon like that, it works great. This one I used the polka dot tulle ribbon, and that worked out too. Okay, I'll tell you, I wasn't as wowed at that one, but it worked. So with this one, oh, look at that. I have a little stamp stuck to that. We're going to use some of this is Grapefruit Grove, and I'm going to do this first, okay? And I did not pre-measure this. So I'm going to use just about that much ribbon. How's that for exactness? All right. And I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to pull it around on the side and just tie a little bow here. And let's see, sometimes when you are on Facebook Live, your fingers are shy and they don't like to tie bows. But that one worked out great. And you're like, Dory, there's ribbon right across there, but that's okay. So what we're gonna do next is we are going to take a piece or a scrap of Whisper White cardstock, and we are going to use our 1 3/4 inch punch. And I don't know if you ladies know, but we have some amazing deals right now on our clearance rack. And some of our punches are $6.20, the circle punches. So you might want to check that out if you don't have, oh, sorry, that was rude. I just reached right across the screen. If you don't have a lot of punches and things, you can check out the clearance rack because there are lots of great discounts right now. So the sentiment I'm using today is actually from a set called Wonderful Moments. And this one is actually going to be retiring, so this will be gone soon. But I thought it says celebrating a special day with a special wish for a special person. And I thought that would be great right here inside with a happy little koala and a happy little wish. So I am going to use my black. I am going to use my scrap. Let me move this off to the side. My scrap of Whisper White. And I am using Bermuda Bay. I'm going to ink that up. I'm going to stamp that on my cardstock. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch it upside down. So that's one of the things I love because you can see exactly where you need to punch. So if you need to turn it, sometimes we might not stamp straight, and that is a-okay because we can fix it right in here. So you're gonna punch that out and just throw it off to the side or place it gently. So here come the dimensionals. I don't wanna disappoint you guys today. So I'm going to use dimensionals, and I am going to put them on the back of this little circle and pop it right up. And I'm going to do it on the top and the bottom because we have the ribbon running through the center. And if you put a dimensional on the ribbon, it's kind of defeats the purpose. So, all right, so I'm gonna slide this right in here and add my little wish for a happy birthday, okay? So I'm gonna come back in, isn't that adorable? And if you wanted to add, if you have little rhinestones, if you have little pearls, you could bling it up a little bit if you wanted to, okay? All right, so we have, that's the outside. So I want to show you something on the inside. So this is something that drives me nuts. So if you wanted to, you could cover it up with, if you're fine with it, then by all means, don't worry about it. But I just don't like to see the raw edge of ribbon on the inside of a card. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add a piece of Whisper White on the inside here, okay? All right, just to cover the ribbon, and then they don't have to see, and I'm gonna use my bone folder to go over top so I don't touch it with my fingers. Okay, so there's that. And then for the bottom piece, I'm going to add my piece of Whisper White on the bottom. With my snail, you can hear it, leaving a little trail that goes across the paper, okay? I'm gonna turn this over, I'm gonna put this in. And then you can put your happy birthday or whatever you would like to put on the inside. And then I came back and I fussy cut a little koala. So there are dies that go to this set, but I did not purchase them. So one of the great things about our designer series paper is you can fussy cut right out of it. So I'm gonna put this little guy right here at the bottom, because how cute is that when you have your celebrating your special day on the outside, and then you open on the inside and you have your little koala. So those are that's my little share for today with your DSP. So I hope you will consider making 1, 2, or several of these. And if you do, please share. I love to see what you guys come up with and what you create. And again, I wanted to tell you about this one too. So you can add a layer. And if you do, my squares were 1 3/4 by 2, so I just went down 1/4 of an inch. So they were 1 3/4 by 2 3/8 instead of 2 5/8. And that's how I made this one here. So if you wanted to add a little pop of color, you can do it that way too. So just make your squares a little bit smaller. All right. So that is my design to share with you today. If you would share my video, I would greatly appreciate that. And thank you for joining me. If you need any supplies, you can also, oh, I have a little ribbon here. You can stop over at doryschneider.stampinup.net, and this is the May hostess code. You can use the hostess code, and don't forget to check out the clearance rack. There's a lot of amazing stuff on the clearance rack.